All righty, well, the day is here. Maria and I are doing our how do you self-regulate essential oil class. And we're going to be talking about all the different coping tools that we have gathered together through our own journey and healing process, becoming more aware in our bodies and all the things. So I know that this is something really important because most people, either they've not gone through therapy or they've had like a crappy therapist or they've just been overly medicated by their doctors and have really felt like they slipped through the cracks and people were just treating them like a number and only not giving them a time of day to understand what is happening in their nervous system based on, their childhood trauma and how we carry that back through into adulthood. And yeah, we put ourselves through the ringer. So thank
Mm.
you so much, Marie, for coming and doing this with me. Her and I have become special buddies through our own recovery process. And, there's just certain people that you feel like inspired by and that you want to do things with because like you just vibe so good. So I wanted to bring her and share her with you because she's just a treasure.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah, if you would, here, I'll go ahead and click share my screen and just kind of just say, what
Yeah.
what's been going on in your life and how this has been really important to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kim, for pointing out all those things that you just did because gosh, it's so important. You touched on, childhood trauma and people not understanding or maybe not listening or there's just so much there. And of course, I'm hearing it firsthand from my sister who's going through some really challenging times right now in her life. So yeah, it's wonderful to be here and to be able to work on this with someone who really is passionate about it. I know I'm passionate about helping people to understand more of how they can heal themselves and who they are, and that it's okay to be yourself and it's okay to have all these things going on because it's just because we're human. We all have these things, and it's so important to share. So I think it's such a valuable topic and class, and of course Kim is just a wealth of knowledge here for all of these things, which I love. I love that about you, and your openness I love so much, and your willingness to share with everyone. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here, and yeah, it's wonderful. So I'll share with whatever I have to share about, when the time is right, just about what's going on with myself. And I'm sure my sister won't mind that I share. She's given me permission to just go ahead and share part of her journey too. So yeah, we'll go from there.
So, let's see. Her and I love the ocean, so I decided it was a good theme. She
Mhm.
lives there. I long to live there. And I just put our stuff here. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. And, I lived in a dysregulated body for 33 years. And the only coping skills I had was the ones I came with, kind of like Buzz Lightyear when they take his batteries out and he defaults back to Spanish. I think that was too. I only had the tools that I came with, meaning my default childhood upbringing. So I only know how to react based on the my caregivers and how they took care of me, and I learned and I watched what they did. So that was a lot of white lies, a lot of avoiding feelings. It was a lot of escapaholism, basically. If I can lie my way out of having to take responsibility, I'm going to do it. That's just what I was taught. If I have too strong of emotion, but I've worked a long day, you're damn right I am going to hit the bottle because I deserve it. That was how I was raised. And then you start to hear about like from other people's experience, like, no, that's not normal. No, that's weird. I'm like, yeah. And so you start, hitting up against other people. How do you maintain healthy relationships? My marriage started falling apart. I was an alcoholic, obviously. And I really needed a change. I hit bottom for me. Everybody's is different. And now here we're almost 4 years later. I'm alcohol free and I'm in recovery from codependency and just completely obsessed with understanding how I can feel comfortable in my body and how can I express what I'm feeling clearly so that I can communicate my needs and help my children learn how to identify their feelings and communicate their needs so that they don't end up in the same shitty cycle that I was in. Um, I just really want to help others as well, not just my own family, to lose their fear of feeling and understand that um, all emotions are needed and they all share a message in how we can communicate, and we don't need to avoid feeling them. So anyway, but Marie, you have your whole story. If you'd like to just share, kind of like what I did.
Oh yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, I'm Marie Rittenhouse and I live on the North Shore of Oahu at Sunset Beach, which is a beautiful place to be. And I've lived here for 30 years and I have two children, two girls, and I am happily married and I have my 30-year anniversary July 24th. So that's really exciting. I wasn't always happily married, though, I guess. I mean, I was, but things are so much better now, I have to say. As I've gone through, now I have 7 years of recovery. And I just like Kim and a lot of us felt the need to numb my feelings. And I also felt very awkward in my body as a young person. And I didn't have any I felt like I had really poor social skills, and both my parents were very shut down. And so we do learn a lot of our behaviors from our parents. And both my parents, they weren't mean people. They weren't, there's nothing. They just were both traumatized people who didn't ever get the help they needed. And so they were both very verbally and emotionally shut down, which caused me to also be that way because they were my cues. They didn't socialize a lot. They didn't talk to other people. They didn't share their feelings with others or even with my sister and I. So we became very quiet people also, And so when I got out as a young teenager into the world, like 13, 14, even younger than that, I felt so awkward around people. I thought, "Oh, I don't even know how to talk to people. Like I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what to say. I had no social skills and I just felt so awkward. And that was really hard for me. And I felt like people thought it was weird and because I didn't know how to talk to people. And then it came, start getting a little bit older and you're starting to like boys and stuff. And I was just horrified by the whole thing. But so of course, then I found my friends started like drinking beer or wine or whatever. And I thought, oh my gosh, I feel different when I'm taking this. I feel like I can talk more. I can do these things. So that's the I want to say manipulation of different, like the trick that things like drugs and alcohol can play on you as a young person. They trick you into thinking that it's some magic potion and it's going to help you in your life, which is what I thought. I found the magic bullet. I found alcohol. Yay. Of course we know that that's not true, but as a young person, it seemed to be true for me. It was my solution at the time. Oh my gosh, all I have to do is drink this stuff and I feel like a different person and I feel like I can talk to people and my inhibitions are down. And so that was kind of my solution a little bit for that period of time. And no one ever told me that it was not okay, really. So I continued on that path. And that, of course, I drank, off and on in my life for quite a long time, using that to numb my feelings and not engage when I didn't know how. And so I never really learned the skills that I needed, which, we all need to learn. So now we're relearning these skills, right, Kim? We're like, okay. And of course we want to teach other people how to do it too. But it is quite challenging feelings when you don't know how to deal with them. So I'm super grateful that I can't say I'm grateful to be an alcoholic, but maybe I am because it really took me to this path of this beautiful um, place in my life where now I feel really solid and really happy and very strong. And also I feel like I could probably help other people. And that makes me feel very happy and purposeful in my life that I could be sharing some of my darkest moments, and then that in turn that they could help other people. So I think that's wonderful. So we're moving along together and healing ourselves and maybe helping others as well, which we'd like to do. So anyway, I'm grateful to be sober. I have all these beautiful tools, and Kim has also shared so many wonderful things with me, and she's taught me so much. So I'm super grateful for our friendship, and yeah, here we are. That brings us to today, where we're, I feel like I'm doing really well, and I know that Kim is too. So we're really grateful for all these tools and how far we've come. So I think I should stop talking now. My gosh, I've talked too much. Sure,
Passionate people. We're passionate people.
we are.
So I just wrote just a really short list of some things, but this is just something I saw online and I retyped up. The number one myth about regulation is that to regulate means to calm down. It's not even the goal. Instead, to regulate means to connect, to be authentic and have a mindful connection to ourselves, also known as awareness.
Mhm.
This enables us to think more clearly, make conscious decisions, connect our breath, and feel more grounded. So I kind of equate this with, remember the original Willy Wonka, and there was Mike TV, remember? The little
Mhm.
boy. And then they put him in the microwave and he's like up in the air. And
Yes.
then he's gonna come down and become little Mike or whatever. I meet people that are so dissociated, like you were mentioning, Marie, with your parents, that they're just like their emotional body and their physical body aren't connected anymore. It's like Mike TV.
Mhm.
They're up here. It's like learning how to ground yourself back in your body and be in the present moment is like gathering all your bits back together,
Mhm.
you know? So I can really relate to that just because I kind of always felt really surreal in my life when things would happen that I felt really like shocked by. Like I would feel myself in that surreal, like I was up in this balloon looking down at my life, you know? Like important moments too, things that weren't traumatizing, like my husband proposing. That was like a very strong emotion for me. I felt like I was like, I didn't really get to feel it because I was like, oh, that's too much.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know? So it's not like it did protect me in some moments, like a family member, one of our really good friends, we were like a soccer family, another soccer family, the father committed suicide. And in that moment, dissociating kind of protects you. That's what it's for. You're running away. But in moments that are really important, like my first child being born, it's really fucked up.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like we've had a whole lifetime of training to not feel our emotions. That was the goal, right? We've trained ourselves not to. So now we have to untrain ourselves and feel, you know what I mean? And we got so comfortable in the non-feeling. And oh, if something happens, we're over here. We're not engaging because we've taught ourselves not to because it's too scary or too big, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure many people can relate to that feeling.
Mhm.
So these are some signs of a dysregulated nervous system, and there's many, many, many more. I just wrote a short list, some that I can relate to. Waking up feeling overwhelmed, feeling stuck, unable to complete tasks, feeling dissociated, feeling less than, searching for validation, emotional blowups, shutting people out, and defaulting to blaming. And I could add much, much more to that, but these are some of the ways that we were taught to feel grounded in a way, you know? Like
Mhm.
my mother and my mom, I watched my mom talk about other people all her life. That was like how she related to others. And that's how she felt like grounded. I have a piece of information I would like to share with you. And so that's where I create value. That's
Mhm.
where my mom was grounding herself, was chit, 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 chat.
Mhm.
So, so without awareness, a person will default to how their childhood caretakers model communication coping methods. So it's a good thing to have that self-reflection and, having gone through the 12 steps myself for codependency and ACA, which is adult children of alcoholism, and AA, There's a quite a deep inventory that a person can do. And many people don't really want to do this personal inventory, but what it does is it brings you into that self-reflection of what are the patterns? If you don't know what the patterns are, how will you know that they're happening again? You know, so that you can say, oh, I am in a shame spiral and I've been talking mean to myself all day. Like,
Mhm.
why do I need to do that? I love myself. I care about my body. I care about my emotions. I'm a worthwhile person, you know? So it's if you don't know what was before, you won't know how to stop it in the future. Um, okay, so we'll just get into some of the tools that we're sharing, but um, I know that she's got this really pretty book,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I meant to put it on here, but I forgot.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, so did you want me to get right into it?
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so gosh, we've just been learning about the benefits of the Japanese practice of um, forest bathing, and the name for it is Shinrin Yoku. Such a neat practice, and it's a real science in Japan. Well, it's a science, period, but they really take it very seriously. To an actual doctor's in Japan prescribe it to people. Like they would write out a prescription for you. You're going to be doing 4 hours of forest bathing 3 times a week. It's on your little pad, you know. Like I think that's the coolest thing, right? So let me just share with you a little bit. This is also these are an essential oil blend that is very powerful and it works wonders. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I wanted to share with you um, a little bit about this practice, this Japanese practice. So a 2 hour forest bath will help you to unplug from technology and slow down. Will bring you into the present moment and de-stress and relax you. When you connect to nature through all 5 of your senses, you begin to draw on the vast array of benefits of the natural world and what it provides. There is now a wealth of data that proves that Shinrin Yoku can reduce blood pressure, lower stress, improve cardiovascular and metabolic health, lower blood sugar levels, improve concentration and memory, lift depression, improve pain thresholds, improve energy, boost the immune system with an increase in the count of the body's natural killer cells. Pretty incredible. Increase anti-cancer protein production and help you to lose weight. Okay, so there's some pretty cool benefits of this practice, and that all revolves around lowering the state of your stress and anxiety and also your blood pressure and all of those things, and the nervous system is right in the middle of all of that, right? So it's really neat. And this Shinrin Yoku blend is made from a bunch of different beautiful tree and oil blends that go perfectly together. And when you use them in the diffuser or on your body, like I have a little one here that you can use, just this guy's a roll on, you can see, and then there's the oil. You can apply it to your wrists or wherever you'd like, but it's really powerful when you put this 15 milliliter bottle into a diffuser and diffuse it while you're sleeping. And there has been studies done from one of our scientists at doTERRA Essential Oils, his name is Dr. Brannick Riggs. And if you were to have this Shinrin Yoku for maybe 5 or 6 hours while you were sleeping, it lowers your blood pressure by 59%. And I thought that can't be true. That's such a high number. It's so amazing. But sure enough, as I went through many of his lectures and all the scientific backing, it is proof that it lowers your blood pressure by 59%. Just being, I mean, of course, you could get the benefits walking through the forest, but because these are actual really pure tree oil blends, they work the exact same way as you would be in a forest, breathing in all those beautiful oils. And of course the oxygen wouldn't be exactly the same, but it's there's a lot of mimicking of the exact same outcomes. So really powerful stuff, and I just think it's fantastic. So this is one of my tools. Men actually really love this too because it's very grounding. Men seem to gravitate towards the tree oils, very grounding and solid and strong. So yes, I love, love, love this blend, and I love the practice so much. I just think we could learn so much from the practice, this Japanese practice. So do you have anything to add to that, Kim?
Well, I liked when they presented this oil and they were talking about it, and they are trying to mimic the same thing, of when the trees exude their pheromones and we're breathing them in, it's changing, we're reacting to those hormonal changes, and that's why it works the same way. But I like that I always think about like it's like little the trees are blowing us little kisses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, being in a forest, I think, yeah, that connection we have with nature is all one big thing, like there's no separation, and we're so lucky we have that to go to, and I feel like I need it every day. So that's one thing that helps me stay grounded and connected to my body, is to be connected to the earth, and this is a really good way to do that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
Okay, another technique that we've talked about. This is called the aroma touch technique. There's 8 oils that are applied to the spine. So each of them, the first 2 are for helping the body come out of that sympathetic nervous system. That's where like you're kind of like amped, and more into the parasympathetic, where you can come down and relax. I equate it as like if you were the rabbit running from the fox, that's sympathetic. And then like, but the rabbit escaped and now it's in its little cozy hole and it's gonna have carrot stew. We're
Relax. Woo.
in like a place of safety, like you were talking about earlier, Marie, like when an animal is in an environment where it can hear the birds chirping,
Mhm.
even humans, this is really old instincts. When we can hear the birds chirping, we know that we're safe. So I highly recommend, like when you're using your oils and you're journaling and connecting with your body, put on bird chirping music, because that'll tell your body, like those really old instinctual parts of your brain, like you're safe because the birds are here.
Yeah, no, yeah, when the bird, it's so true though. It's interesting, those cues, those messages that our nervous system gets from even the oldest ancient, right? Theories of like that when the birds are chirping, it means that there's no predators around. And so they're safe. And for some reason, as humans, we know this too instinctively. We don't consciously know it, but isn't that interesting? I find that to be so fascinating, right?
Yeah. Well, so one of the ways that you can help another person feel safe in this like sweet little cocoon is this aroma touch technique.
Mm.
So it's not meant to be like a massage. It's meant to be like a clinical application. So like it's kind of like what I tell people, the red tape in California. Like you're not a massage therapist, it's a clinical application. So you can offer it to people without it being a massage. But
Mhm.
you're just applying it to the spine. It's just the lightest touch. But it's not like they're missing anything, because as you're doing this super light touch, the person's kind of just like, oh, like they're going into this like deep meditation, and they just kind of even forget that you're there. If you've had a really good massage and you fall asleep, like
Mhm.
you don't want to go deep on this one. You want to let the person like go into like this really sweet, dreamy land. And it's building up the body's nervous system response. We want to give it strength. Um, so like Maria and I have experience, having survived alcoholism and codependency, parts of our brain was not developed. We were only using the part that was for um, running away from pain. They call it the pleasure loop. You only run toward pleasure, run away from pain, run toward pleasure, run away from pain. So when you're in that loop, the different parts of your brain aren't online. So that first year of recovery, you're regaining the ability to have stress resilience. So the
Mhm.
techniques we're about to show you are about toning the vagus nerve. It's the largest nerve in your body. I'll probably add that to the slides next time. And it comes through your brain, down the left side, through your guts, and then back up through your spine. So it's like the biggest loop, and it regulates everything. So, and you can actually make it stronger and more available by using it more often. So you can, well, I'll show you some techniques here. I threw this in here, so I'll probably come back to this, but it's really important, this gut brain axis. Well, we might as well just talk about it. Because, you know, I used to be a colon hydrotherapist, and I'm always recommending people to get on probiotics. But now there's just so many probiotics on the market. And most of them, you're not getting the full benefit just because they don't have the ability to cross through your acid in your stomach. So you know, the people are drinking those little yogurt Jacolt thingies, or it just doesn't make it through the acid. So you don't get the full benefit in the small intestine. doTERRA did this whole, they're a science company. So they came up with, how do we make it so that the person, we double encapsulate this puppy so that it's going to cross through the acid, but also now that there's prebiotic fiber and then postbiotics. So it's a full gut biome thing. Because I would tell people before, if you're going to take probiotics, you need to be eating fiber. If not, it's like buying really fancy tropical fish and then never feeding them. They're going to die.
Yeah. Aw.
Like, don't waste your money taking probiotics if you're eating like crap, because it doesn't go anywhere. So doTERRA was like, okay, so we have to add fiber. So it's like preloaded fish food for your fish, you know? So I thought that that was really interesting. But and then they have figured out that over 90% of your serotonin receptors are actually in your gut. And there's more than that now. Now the research has continued. So when people like struggle with depression and anxiety and all kinds of issues, it's actually physiologically in the gut that they need to be working on, you know? It's not just like, I can give you Prozac and fix it all anymore. Okay, so I want to get into some of the tools. So we have the flight, fight, freeze, and fawn. Those are part of like our nervous system regulation. And I'm not saying any of these are bad. We need these responses. If I am in the car and it's raining really hard sideways, and I need to focus and pay attention, otherwise I could slip off the road and die, right? That's when my body would naturally go into flight, and it's a good thing, right? Because I need that cortisol and adrenaline to stay focused. So that is an appropriate use of this nervous system response where we welcome it because we need it. If I am in a quote unquote safe situation, but because of my experience and my perceptions, my nervous system doesn't feel safe. That's when it's inappropriate, and we need to figure out how can we help our brain feel safe so that it can regulate those nervous system responses and hormones. So for flight, I have it written down here. So we want to like, kind of like when you come up against a mountain lion, you know, what do they tell you to do? Make yourself bigger, right? Like they're like, make yourself bigger, talk really loud. So you probably won't be able to hear it because I don't think Zoom will let you pick it up. But one of the things I will do when I'm feeling that flight, which for me, it would translate as like, you know, as an alcoholic, I want to drink. That is flight. Or I'm so done with this conversation. I can't even talk about it anymore. And I don't want to talk. I'm going to leave. Like that's flight. So we're just going to go like this. You can try it. If you're, you know, you can do it in the car, and you can do it on the table. And just by doing that, I don't know if you can hear it, but the volume of my voice is louder. It's like me saying, and it's telling that reptilian part of my brain, I am big. You don't scare me. See what I mean? And a lot of good things that you can do with this. You can do some sweeping of the arms and matching the breath. So I don't want to just like force myself to like sit down and calm down. That doesn't feel right. I need like some action to go with it. So I'll show you right here. Let me, um, well, I can just stop sharing and for a second, stop. I'll show you what this looks like for me. In. So I had a friend teach me this. So I just come up and I'm gonna swoosh. Inhale as I come up, exhale.
Mm.
And I can do that 10 to 20 times. And then I'll come back to a seated position now that I've kind of like moved the energy. Now I'm gonna be like, okay, like now we can come back into our body. I might have started with my oil, but I didn't, so I'm gonna start with it now. So I might have my, let me pull my screen back up so you can see. Let me go this way. So if I want, say balance blend or lavender, bergamot, adaptive, frankincense, I'm gonna pick the one that like I'm feeling like, oh, that's the right one. So I'm gonna pick balance. So I'm just gonna take a couple of drops in my hand. I'm gonna rub my hands together. You can do this without oils if you want to just feel what this is like. So I just rub my hands together vigorously.
Mm.
Once my hands are warm, then I'm gonna take a few breaths in.
Mm.
I'm gonna put one hand
Mm.
on the back of my head and one hand on the front of my forehead. And I'm just gonna do kind of like a little lift. This is a really fast way to connect with yourself, right? And just get that nervous system, the vagus nerve stimulation. So I'm going to put one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and we're going to do VOO breathing. It's VOO. So as you take a breath in, we're going to exhale with a long VOO. And just feel what you feel there.
Mm.
How does that feel?
Mm.
I feel the energy in the room I'm in. It's like everything dropped to my feet.
Mm.
Some of the things that a person might experience during the flight nervous system response is perfectionism, overthinking, overworking, obsessive thinking, avoiding situations, and avoiding painful emotions. So that would be how you'd know you're in the flight. And here's fight. So here's some of the oils that I chose. It's when a person tends to be, they have more of the bullying energy, narcissistic tendencies, anger outbursts, feeling explosive, abusive words, aggressive and defensive. So the type of thing we want to do here is we don't want to, like, if somebody's mad, what's the thing that pisses them off the fastest? calm down.
Mm.
You're like, I'm not calming down. I'm angry. And it's most of the time when we feel angry, someone has crossed one of our highest values. But eventually we would like to release that anger and move on. So I would use Shinrin Yoku. It's because it's very woodsy. All the woodsy ones are the ones that help um process anger. And we're not trying to not feel our feelings. We're still valuing them. We're still looking at them. It's just that I know for me, I can ruminate and I can get into like a spiral of thinking the same thing for over and over. And what I'd like to do is hand it over to my higher power and say, look, this is too big for me. So I need help, and I use the oils to connect in that way so that I'm not going to default back to my childhood pattern. I'm gonna ask for help and I'm gonna allow that change to come through me and I'm gonna ask for the correct words. In order for me to do that, I need tangible tools like the oils to help change my brain chemistry and help me be in the present moment instead of oh, I'm so pissed off and this reminds me of like when I was 10 and somebody yelling at me and then I have to get defensive. So I would choose an oil like let's see if I've got a woodsy one right here. Oh, I really connect with neroli for when I'm feeling like, especially if I'm angry and feeling like I want to control things. I feel it in my jaw.
Mm.
So I'll roll neroli on my jaw, and that really releases that overly controlling thing. And then I might do push-ups on the floor, or I can do a push-up on the wall. And what that tells the reptilian part of my brain is I have defended off the threat because we're trying to trick our brain. So I will do this for like at least 30 seconds. And I'm pushing, with a good amount of my strength against the wall. So it's funny how you can hack your nervous system by using, essential oils
Mhm.
that are going to help change the chemistry and you feel better faster. And then also you're rewiring it by doing the somatic tools, these physical movements that tell your brain, okay, we're moving on now.
Mhm.
So that you can stay in the moment, process it, and then, okay, I don't want to ruminate about it anymore. I want to give it to my higher power.
Mhm.
Do you have anything to note on that, Marie?
Well, I really like how you said that you can hack your nervous system. I think that's brilliant, honestly, because I mean, it's a really great way to look at it, and it can be done because there's a lot of things in that reptilian brain that just automatically present, and then if we're smart enough, not, or we can figure out ways to, I don't want to say manipulate, but like you said, hack that so that we can trick the nervous system and being like, okay, we're good. We don't need to continue on this path. The threat is gone and we can go back to a little more of a peaceful state, and do that, which I really like that. So thanks for sharing that part. But yeah, all of these all of these things, I really feel like the oils are so beneficial because they go immediately into your limbic system, and your limbic system is responsible for memory and different things. And so a lot of these things, when things pop up from the past, they're just memories of things that were really horrible in our lives or uncomfortable or painful. And it may cause a reaction, even if it's not happening now, it can feel like it is. So that's the one thing about essential oils, man. They get in there so quickly without even your knowledge, and they're going straight to your brain and changing that chemistry of your thought and your brain, and can bring you to a different place of peace or a different more grounded space that you're in. So I think that essential oils are so powerful in that way.
I've had a therapist say that each experience we have is filed away in like a really big file drawer.
Yeah.
It's like when we experience something similar, that file drawer opens, and it's like the feelings, maybe not the full memories, but the feelings of all those feelings come out.
Mhm.
And this being able to create that safe space for yourself to feel those things and not have fear of, okay, I'm gonna go overboard kind of thing. You know, a lot of people fear feeling because they're afraid to cry. They don't want to cry in front of other people. They don't want to get too mad, you
Mhm.
know. So this is helping somebody like be like, okay, like I'm in control of the situation and how I process.
Mhm.
Fawn is an interesting one. Just in the last couple years, I've been learning about this. I didn't even know about it. I only knew about fight or flight for all these years.
Mhm.
Um, so how fawning shows up is people pleasing, lack of boundaries, lack of identity, trying to appease people, avoiding conflict, and neglecting yourself. So one of the things that we want to do coming out of that is, like reclaiming your body. That's the one that people dissociate out of.
Mhm.
Um, So what I like to show people is using the power stance. So I always stand in front of the mirror. I do this particularly like if I have a conversation I need to have with someone. So I use my oils, I pray, I'm talking to God like, please help me with the words, that's going to help the person receive and understand where I'm coming from, and we can both get our needs met. So I stand with my arms wide, my hands open, my chest is out. So like in the animal kingdom, when a person's like this, or an animal, like, they're exposed, that means I feel big. I'm the one in control. If I'm the little animal trying to protect its belly, they're gonna be like this, because they don't want to get eviscerated or whatever. So if I'm big and open and opening my chest, then I'm coming back into my body, I'm taking back my power. So I do that for about a minute. But I chose oils that are very cleansing and move a lot of energy, because when a person's in fawn, they tend to have very low energy because they feel apathetic, they feel hopeless to make change in their life, because they're like, well, here I am, I'm stuck here in this shitty marriage or whatever. I can't make any changes in my job, whatever makes them feel like, that they have to behave that way in order to not, you know. So you want to use these oils to shake up the energy, like lemongrass. That I think in one of the books I read, that what's her face, Mandagog. What's her first name? You know what I'm
Yes,
talking.
Desiree.
Desiree. She's like, it's like they call it the fire hose of moving energy. That's lemongrass,
Yeah.
turmeric, and cinnamon, and ginger, and clove, and peppermint. These are all like powerhouse ones that are like, wake up. So I would take like peppermint and lemongrass, and you can just breathe it in. It's going to help open up all your senses and give you that energy. Also for fawn, like Marie, you mentioned your rebounder.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's something that I really found helpful for. I actually didn't get it for that reason. I got it to just exercise and maybe move my lymphatic a little bit on days that I couldn't get outside as much. Um, but I find that for emotional regulation, it really seems to help when you are in a funky zone, right? And you need to shake that up, just like you were doing with those sweeping exercises. The rebounder is amazing for that. You can jump on that thing, even just light jumping, doesn't have to be anything crazy, but of course, if you want to, you can go, do it harder. But my gosh, it really moves energy and it really changes things a lot. So it distributes emotions differently and lets some of them go. And it just really changes it up when you need that change. So I think it's a really great tool for that. Yeah.
Well, especially for me, I know like I sometimes will wake up with low energy. Obviously I'm not sleeping as much as I'd like with a young baby. But it makes me think I should go outside on the trampoline.
And that's hard to do when you have low energy, but it's amazing if you can just get yourself past that little threshold of being like, I don't even want to do this, and just do it lightly. Then all of a sudden you start to feel, oh, you can just commit to like doing, I'm just going to do it for 1 minute or, whatever. And do it even just very gently. And then you'll start to feel that energy move. And then more energy comes and you're like, wow, okay. Now you've just created this really cool energy, kind of a dispersion or movement that you can use to your advantage of changing your emotional state, really, you know, so it's really kind of cool.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm inspired. I'm gonna jump on the trampoline. And we have freeze. So, I mean, I'm totally releasing. When I'm yawning, I'm releasing.
Mhm.
So somebody is feeling really vulnerable. I mean, it's kind of like a grieving feeling when somebody's in freeze, like they don't want to get out of bed. They're like, oh, I just don't want to do anything. I want to run away. I want to escape. Don't talk to me. So we really have to invite the person to remember who they were as a kid. I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she's a grandma, and she gets to be the caretaker for her grandson, and she was saying how special it was to watch someone in such pure joy and innocence, and how healing that was to her inner child, to be like, and I'm like, yeah, that's that sweet grandma energy. It's like they get to see the delight of a child, and it gives them that sweetness. So anyway, I hadn't thought of it in that way, like grandmas and grandpas like healing their inner child through their grandchildren.
That's a really cool. I love that topic, and seeing they can't move as much. You know, most older people can't move as much as maybe a 5-year-old would be able to, obviously, right? So they're still like getting that energy that they once had, and they know the feeling. I don't think those feelings ever go away once you have them inside of you. You just can't actually physically do some of the jumping that they can do, right? When you're 80 or whatever, or 70 or 80, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't know. Like my mom she's 63. She's not like an old grandma, you know. Like my son is 15, and she's still like jumping on the trampoline and doing everything. But she's been taking doTERRA for
right,
14 years too.
that's it helps, I'll tell you.
All the citrus oils, those are all for childlike enthusiasm, and like helping a person like remember, like, you don't have to be Captain Hook. You can be Peter Pan, and be who you really are, not, the layers of dragon scales that we tend to put on.
Mhm.
So for me, a freeze is associated with like pain. I tend to get like stagnant, and I feel like physical pain in my body. So I
Mhm.
like to use the deep blue and aroma touch on my shoulders, and just like it's okay like to feel these feelings, and being really compassionate and comforting to myself. Um, that kind of thing. Which I
Mhm.
didn't put in here. I should take notes on what I should add to the slides, but the Essential Emotions book is a really great resource when a person doesn't know exactly what they're feeling. They want to know what oils to use um,
Mhm.
for what feelings. So I have this Essential Emotions book here. There's an
Mhm.
app as well. And if you're in the beginning of your, reclaiming your emotional body experience, I would get this, because then you can start looking at the emotions index and be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Just kind of like building your emotional vocabulary, and then you can feel it in your body, and you'll be able to recognize it later. Like, oh yeah, I am feeling frustrated, or I am feeling, conflicted. Like, it's just most people only have like 4 or 5 adjectives that they rotate, you know? It's like if you can granulate it a little bit, then you're going to understand yourself much more and have more compassion.
Mhm.
So Marie, you shared your self-regulation toolbox, so I'll let you explain this.
Oh man, this stuff is good. Yeah, I use a lot of these every day. Adaptive capsules, I'm gonna say, probably are my number one, because when I feel really stressed out, um, I go to them, and that's these guys, and they are in a capsule form, and they have GABA in them along with other essential oils that really help calm your nervous system. Can't say enough about those. Vetiver roll-on, gosh, I think we talked about vetiver. I'm not sure if we did yet, but this vetiver is a single oil, and it is one thing I really found. I mean, it's very grounding. It's a root that's grown in Haiti, And it actually has been used for helping people work through their PTSD. That's the one oil that I know that has been used to do that, because on a subtle way, the thing about the oils is they work very subtly on your emotions, because like as Kim was mentioning, you don't want to, people don't, it's scary to feel some of the emotions we have that are trapped in our body. They are very intense sometimes, and we don't want them to all just come out at one time. Just like, you know, like if people are afraid to get too angry, they're afraid to get too sad or feel too much because it's extremely painful sometimes. So on a subtle level, these oils such as vetiver help to process even while you're like sleeping. I put vetiver, helps me sleep a lot. It's wonderful. So you put them on the bottom of your feet, you can put it on your neck, and you can even take it internally. Really, really helps to calm the nervous system and to subtly process those emotions, which I think is so valuable, right? Something that's working on in a subtle way. The Serenity stick. Well, Serenity oil in general is beautiful. It's got lavender and some other beautiful oils in there, but this Serenity stick is fairly new, and it's got like some shea butter and oh my gosh, it's got sandalwood, and it's you know, the Serenity blend, beautiful, beautiful. But this is really calming, and you can use it on children as well. It's very, very soft, and I put it sometimes well, I'll put it on my neck, which she was talking about, you know, this is for the vagus nervous, and sometimes I do it really hard on my neck because it kind of gives me a little massage there, you know. And I love that. I put it on the bottom of my feet, and sometimes my kids laugh at me because I'll put it under my arms for deodorant. I don't think that's how you're supposed to use it, but you know, it works really well for that. It smells beautiful and calms. It's just so calming. So love that for day or night. A lot of people use the Serenity at night, but I use it during the day too. So it's wonderful. Balanced blend, we talked about that. It's you know, a balance of tree oils. And also the thing that's amazing about Balanced Blend is it has frankincense in it. Frankincense is one of my very favorite oils. Super grounding. It's known as the oil of truth. In an emotional way. So a Balanced Blend was one of the original like tree blends that doTERRA came out with. It's one of their older blends, and it stuck with me through my whole you know, 12, 13-year career with doTERRA, which I absolutely love. So yeah, I'll never be without my Balanced Blend. Really, really, really grounding. So that's something you can either put in the diffuser or you can put on your body. It's wonderful for all of those things. Rose oil is a beautiful, I have a rose roll-on that I keep in my purse. Rose has the highest frequency of all of the essential oils. It's known as a heart opener, which is really powerful. So also really good for skin. So when I'm feeling like I need a little love or a little self-care, or just, you know, if I need to feel that, I take the rose and I rub it on my chest. I roll it on my chest. Sometimes I even roll it a little over my under my nose and keep it on there so I can really smell it. And you know, sometimes I put it on the bottom of my feet, but I like the smell so much I don't want it all the way down there. So, but it works well for that too. But it is a really beautiful oil to raise your vibration and to calm you in a really loving way. And it's a nice heart opening oil. So yeah, I got a lot of oils in my purse. So just so you know. Copaiba soft gels. Now Copaiba is from Brazil. It's a tree in the Brazilian rainforest that I think maybe it's been about 4 or 5 years. It's not new, but it's not, it hasn't been around for as long as some of the others. And it is my new kind of thing for headache or head tension or even sore muscles, because it really is great for inflammation. And I don't take Tylenol or any kind of pain medication for headaches or tension anymore, because I've done the research and I know how bad it is for your liver, especially if you're taking it daily. It causes a lot of problems for your liver and kidneys. So those are completely out of my household. Even my kids sometimes, my girls are sometimes like, Mom, I'm having premenstrual cramps. Where's the Advil? Sorry, I don't have Advil anymore. So they take the Copaiba soft gels. So it's very good for those kinds of, those kinds of pains, headaches, or um, inflammation, joint pain. And they also use it for menstrual cramps too. It works very well. So Copaiba soft gels are a go-to for me. I probably take them every day. And then we talked about the Shinrin Yoku. That's one of my newer favorites, and I love to diffuse it on my bed. I love to carry the roll on in my purse. It's really great, and my husband loves it too. It's just very grounding, and yeah, gotta take that with you. So yeah, that helps lower the blood pressure, just helps relax you and make you feel more grounded. So um, yeah. Oh, there's more. Look at this. Sound healing. Yes, this is one of my, I have a couple girlfriends that do that for a living. They love it. They share that with people to help heal them, and they also use the oils. So sound healing bowls have a frequency. The bowls, each bowl emits different frequencies that help heal different parts of your body, and it's extremely grounding. It actually helps organize your cells into alignment, which I thought was so fascinating. What a really neat, well, we're starting to learn that most healing is centered around frequency, because everything is energy. And so this is a really wonderful way to heal your body and um, and and your nervous system altogether. So the sound of ocean waves, well, I'm very lucky I get to hear them a lot because I live near the ocean. But for me, that sound of water, I think for a lot of people too, even just the sound of rain can be very calming and relaxing. Water is 70% of our body and 70% the ocean. That might be a little less or more, give or take, you know, but water is life basically. And so anything that has to do with water is so grounding, healing, nurturing, just to hear even. Um, so of course, walking in nature, we talked about that with the Shinrin Yoku and the grounding of the trees. And in our earth has a electromagnetic field that if you were to walk on it without shoes on, you need to, I'm sure you've heard of the earthing or grounding, when you are barefoot and you're on the beach, or you're on the grass, or in what am I trying to say, in a forest, without rubber soles on your feet, because the rubber soles will keep you from connecting to that electromagnetic field. So you would want to be doing that as much as you can. And there's a natural energy that just also does what the sound thing does. It organizes your cells into this very beautiful alignment, and keeps your body humming along beautifully the way it wants to, and it's like a little orchestra there, and it really helps get you back in tune with yourself and with the vibration of the earth. So, and then tapping is something that is a little bit new to me, but I really found it helpful. There's a lot of different videos and different things on tapping, as you can talk to yourself, and it's sort of calms your body and your nervous system. So if you ever get a chance to look at videos on tapping, there's a lot of really cool ones, even on YouTube. It's a really neat way to calm down and focus your energy. Grounding, like we talked about, we just got the same thing as walking in nature and grounding are kind of same, which would be just really grounding down to the earth. Sometimes you can even, if you're feeling ungrounded, when they laugh about people tree hugging, but you can hang onto a tree. And sometimes I envision the roots going all the way down to the earth and really bearing down there. So a tree is the most beautiful thing, because it grounds its roots way down so solid in the earth, but it also branches up to the heavens, right? And it's reaching for, the highest good, and it's also reaching for the light. And so it's a really neat symbolism of how we as humans are trying to be as well. Just, be like a tree and ground yourself with your roots in firmly in the ground. However, you're reaching up to the light and always opening yourself up to that. So I want to be a tree in my next life. How's that sound? I think I might have to develop some more patience though, because man, they are patient. And then humming is really neat. Has a lot to do with the vagus nerve that Kim was talking about. It really stimulates this vagus nerve. And we want to do that because sometimes that gets shut down when you are in maybe a freeze or a fawn state, you kind of, you feel dysregulated. The humming, there's something about the voice and stimulating that, that kind of stimulates your nervous system. So remember that humming and singing also. If you, a lot of people can, you can get that through singing, which is, similar to the humming. It's this voice, um, you know, coming out and vibrating and helping you to, sometimes it even helps people reclaim their voice to hum or sing or be more vocal, because a lot of people have maybe their throat chakra is imbalanced or closed or something like that. So humming or singing is a good way. And then we talked about jumping on the rebounder. I just think it, well, pretty much jostles everything in your body, right? But it's a good way to, everything goes up and down and it just going, and so you, it's a wonderful for lymphatic, we want, that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize, that lymphatic has to be moved. And that is our major, that's one of our lymph nodes that does, that's how we detox, right? We have our liver and we have our lymphatic system, and those are our main detox pathways, right? We have to be moving, like either jumping or walking or swimming or doing something that moves the lymphatic system so that we can keep those pathways open and moving. So I find that jumping on the rebounder is really a great way to stimulate your lymphatic and also stimulate your nervous system and change things up a bit. And it's great exercise. Honestly, it's such a great thing for older people who, and if you can't get outside, let's say the weather's junky, or maybe you live in a place where it snows half the year. Well, that thing will save your life, man. Having a rebounder in your living room and putting some music on, and even if you did it for 2 to 5 minutes a day, you'd be doing yourself a huge favor. So I definitely recommend the jumping on the rebounder for anyone, but especially older people who can't go jumping around too much, So those are my wonderful tools that I'm so grateful to. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Marie.
Hmm.
I know you and I have been chatting about like what to add in this presentation, and it's just, people, they need to know like not everybody's toolbox is going to look the same.
Everyone's so different, and your body chemistry is different, and your needs are different, and your trauma is different. Everybody's way they grew up. Everybody has a little bit of trauma on some level. I can't. I have to say, whether it's extreme or mild, but there's some level of discomfort that changed you in some way, right? As you grew, as we got older, from childhood to on, there's something that possibly happened in life that sticks with you, that a little attention every now and then, right? So we can do it, right?
Well, like I with my clients, because I work with people that are coming out of addiction and looking into into recovery and things like that. So I help people figure out their toolbox. But for me, I always, like you said, I have to connect to water. You know,
Mhm,
if in the beginning of my recovery, I just needed to go take a bath, go take a shower,
mhm,
just to feel like go back into a little bit of a comfort zone so that I don't like go and run and do, my drug of choice, which, for some people it's like overeating or Amazon purchasing or, things like that. Calling a friend, and this isn't just any friend, any old friend. It's somebody who I can say, do you have emotional space to listen?
mhm,
Like someone who's not just going to be like jumping to that solution before I've even said I want a solution.
mhm,
They're just willing to be a sounding board and a support system. And I use a lot of Wim Hof breathing. If you don't know what that is, look it up on YouTube. It's
mhm,
so helpful. And I pair it with the essential oils, which is even further changing,
mhm,
my neural pathways and building new habits for myself. I use those somatic experiencing tools that we paired with the oils. And I do have some of those, actually, I have all of them on my YouTube channel. So look up essential oils for addiction, and you'll find a YouTube channel with all the different, the flight, fight, fawn, and freeze, and what oils to pair along so you can follow with it and share with those that need it. I love floating in a pool and being floated in a pool of 98 degrees, and that's what Watsu is. I practice yoga, being in the woods, and smelling a baby. So those are some of my
Baby, good one.
tools. And my favorites are similar to yours. I really lean into my holistic tools. And I love pairing it with my essential emotions book so I can kind of understand like why did I innately pick that and what is the message it's going to bring me. So it's just every time, like I look in the book at what does Yarrow say, and it's like right on, and it just really helps me understand like what is it I'm going through right now and what needs do I need to get met. It helps me communicate with others and understand myself even further. So that's my information there. And every Monday, we have a healthy emotional processing meeting. It's open to everybody. Here's the Zoom ID. So you can come and just kind of like start to learn about yourself and how you can communicate more clearly and use holistic tools. So I really appreciate you, Marie, doing this with me. I know
Yeah.
this is like our first time, like putting this together, and I'm sure we'll refine it, but
Yeah.
um, it comes from a place of deep caring for others, that our experiences were not in vain, that they were so that we can have more empathy and care for others more effectively.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm grateful to be here working with you. It's so wonderful to share our life and experiences and be able to, yeah, connect with others. So
Yay.
yeah, I love you.
Alrighty, well, we'll see you soon.
Wrap it up. Okay. Thank you guys for being here and much aloha until we meet again.
I'll stop sharing.